When I first visited a Media Lab demo day back in 1997, it was more or less silent. And the word for the stuff what was there on display was multimedia. And this was a common discussion back then that the multimedia was not that multi at the time, of course, due to technical limitations. Now it's completely different, but back in about 10 years or 11 years ago, I had a meeting with my colleagues from the Sibelius Academy and a couple of other colleagues that we should start a master's level education in sound design for things which are not film as such, theater as such, acoustics as such, music technology as such, but in the intersection of, I'd say, sound studies, which is the humanistics of the field, then experimental performance, and then music technology. And so this sound in new media came into existence. My colleagues from the other school said that the Media Lab is the place where this should happen, and actually the only place where this could happen, in their opinion. And from the due to the generous support of the former TAIC and now Aalto University, this collaboration has produced already graduates who are sound designers in the rest of the audiovisual, which is quite a lot nowadays. Take games, for instance. So you will introduce yourselves through your works and a couple of words. Let's start from Aki Päivärinne.
So, Aki is my name, and I have a background in music and sound design. So I'm originally a saxophonist, but did a degree in Goldsmiths in London, graduated from there 2010, and started in Media Lab 2011, so a few years ago. And just after a couple of months, Antti offered me an internship place at Rovio, so I could do internship over there. And okay, this is cool, and I'm grateful for offering this opportunity to me. Thank you, Antti. Well, and my task over there was to work on interactive technology for Angry Birds Slingshot, so that you can see over there. It's a quite big wooden construction, and it has a sort of like a pillow under the bomb bird, and there's a trigger pillow. So to say, once you sit on it, then you start hearing the launching sound. And once you get up, you hear the bird flying over the room in the multi-channel sound system. This is a part of the sound design for the shops. So I've been working in Rovio creating this sort of atmospheric sounds and interactive elements for retail stores. So, and it was really interesting work. And from there, things got a bit bigger, and I started designing the soundtracks for like amusement parks, indoor and outdoor amusement parks, which was great as well. And I'm doing that right now for this. This was much smaller things, but now it's like a 32-channel big indoor areas, and a lot of different activities and differently themed areas inside these theme parks. And what can I say? It's like it's been quite a trip with Rovio, but at the same time, I've been working on other projects as well, and taking a lot of the stuff I've learned also at Media Lab to my work in Rovio, and also further from there to my different sort of artistic work with the dancers and different installations and site-specific work. This, for example, was an installation called Double Blind, where I'm using like interactive shoes that are sensing the weight changes of weight on your feet and creating sounds from there. and as well as my work at the Zodiac Dance Theatre, where I had did a interactive floor where the dancers can interact with the floor, and by using the floor they can create sound for the dance performance.
My background is in the film sound. I'm a sound designer for films, for advertisement, for games, and other types of media. For my master's thesis, I was doing something completely different. It was this. This is called the air loop pedal. I will briefly introduce this one. It's basically, I'm manipulating guitar signal with this, and this is based on motion detection sensors, and it's controlled with my feet. This is the building process of it, and I'm using Arduino One inside and infrared sensors. On the right side we can see standard guitar pedals. They are analog normally, and this whole thing works as analog. This must be a little confusing right now, but I have a little video clip. The basic idea is here. On the left side we can see the guitar, and we are going to the analog input of the device. Then I'm splitting the signal, and in the signal processing loops I'm doing whatever I want to the signal. Then with my feet in the air I'm crossfading the signals back to 1, and it goes to the amp. In my master's thesis, I wanted to investigate some new creative methods for doing different things, and I was studying what really evokes the user's creativity or my creativity while I play guitar, and then I figured out that these accidents or these new coincidences have a strong ability to feed my creativity, and that's why I'm using this non-tactile system. So there's no feedback coming to me except the audible feedback, what I hear.
Basically, since coming to Media Lab, it's been a really interesting time for me. I came from quite a traditional background, so lots of orchestration and arrangement and conducting. So since I've come here, I've gotten very much interested in data flow programming. And I had done for my graduation piece performance and video piece, which was quite against the grain of what that university would have been doing. And so since coming here, I've gotten a lot more interested in live performance-related stuff. And I guess I should show the performance that I'll be doing. Tuomas Ava is another student in my year in the sound program. We're both just entering our second year. And he can't be with us today because he's in New York, so we are actually doing a virtual live performance. We pre-recorded video and audio that he was doing, and I'll be playing with that. So we've started doing a noise project together, which has absolutely nothing to do with my thesis, but this is what I'm predominantly doing at this point. So I've been building my own instruments, and Tuomas, whose thesis is dealing with basically iPad app as instrument and virtuosity. So we've been working on an album together, and each track I've been building my own instrument via Max. So that's what I'll be performing.
Since this session is about the master's education at the lab, I would like to ask you what in your personal experience has been the most important or memorable thing during your years at the lab?
First of all, it was really easy to come into the lab, start my studies here, because I had just moved in back to Finland from London, and I felt really comfortable coming in because it was such an international environment. And also, like all of the pure data courses and all of that, I had started learning Max MSP already back in London, but taking all of that knowledge a bit further was opened my eyes in different ways. I think was really important for me at that point of my studies then. And also the scenographics, the wooden workshop, and all of that, learning how to weld and doing things on your hands. That was really, really important, and how to combine the two things, like doing something from the wood and doing something from the electronics, and doing some software on a computer. It's like combining all of these three different elements together. For me, it was really fulfilling, I would say.
Ville?
I think for me, one of those media labbers probably now, but those crazy courses of PIPSA, they were most important for me. And go find out. And also the courses of film sound departments. And that's it. Yeah. Of course, Antti's courses, but that's the obvious.
Okay. So, Ava.
Personally, I think every course I've taken, I've found something to use out of it. I think it's mainly been the fact that I have the freedom to do pretty much whatever I need to do. The range of courses is quite large, so I've been just throwing myself into different ones where I have never worked with that program before or never worked in that way before. So I think that has been my favorite part of being in the Media Lab. Well, last year I had the privilege of working on a sound installation that's in Aurinkolahti, that's in an elementary school. And I think that one of the joys of what we're doing right now is that we get to take these kind of non-spaces where people don't really even want to be in and create a social setting out of it, and also bring that, make that non-space have a sense of place. And I think that that's a really nice thing that hopefully we're moving towards more and more, with whether it be in an elementary school or in a store, or even say out on in really public spaces like streets or walkways or whatever.
We did a performance a couple of weeks ago in Itä-Pasila as a part of Urban Aappa festival. So we had a sound installation with the headphones on, based on the headphone pieces, and it was it felt so important to bring sound into places where, like, so-called non-places. And so all the people that wouldn't normally see these works can actually enjoy them in their natural environments, if I can say that.
My question was going to be, how do you guys see the role of a new media practitioner in a professional capacity? Look around us now. We've got, in the traditional media, you have live sound engineer, dubbing mixer, camera operator, these well-established orthodoxy of roles. And I'm thinking about the people, some of my students, colleagues, people I've seen come up in new media over the last almost a decade. An example might be, say, Rob Thomas, who's become a reactive music producer. He works with artists, Imogen Heap, people like that, whatever. And he's got a skill set now that is marketing as a new media practitioner. Can you see that role developing? I mean, how would you guys present yourselves? Do you see new media producer, new media creator as becoming a well-defined and recognised role, or is it always going to be on the margins and something a bit experimental?
I see it in my profession, I see it as a one tool. Just as a one tool, I do linear media and I do non-linear media and blend them together, and sometimes it's much better to use just the linear stuff, for example, in storytelling. storytelling-wise. So it's just one tool for me, but it's an important tool, and it had opened my eyes quite a lot since I started using like pure data and max MSPs.
Personally, I mean, this gets into a whole other discussion of what will be new media. So I think that the face of new media is a constantly changing thing. So as far as if we're able to clearly define it, I'm not really sure. And I think that I generally agree with your point as well. That it is, for myself, it is one tool. I come from quite a traditional background, and I still have a need for those things as well. So it's just, it's one more tool in the toolbox.
All right. Thank you, Ava, Ville, Aki.
Thanks.
Thanks.